More likely than not, you know the Black Plague, one of the most deadly and documented diseases in human history. Back in the mid-1300s, a deadly infectious disease began to spread from animals to humans, and it might just be the most well-documented pandemic before COVID. A little under 200 years later though, and another epidemic hit Europe. This time, unlike COVID, when people had to stay inside to stop the spread, the safest thing you could do was not dance, I guess? I mean, ancient medicine is ancient for a reason. It had a long way to go, but even then. Anyway, back in 1518, something which historians still aren't sure about brought this very exotic pandemic to the Holy Roman Empire, in modern-day France. It wasn't a disease per se, some claim it was a mass hysteria. Whatever it was, it is estimated that between 50 and 400 people took to dancing for what was sometimes weeks at a time, and there has yet to be found a definite explanation for the event. It started with Frau Tofia, a woman who, on one seemingly random day, took to the street in front of her house and started dancing. She had no music accompaniment, and no one else was with her, at least in the start, because soon afterwards some records estimate up to 400 people were together with her in the streets of Strasbourg. Some historians claim that there were times when they had around 15 or so people dying every day from exhaustion, starving, and even strokes. Others deny those numbers and say that the information can be confirmed. Either way, for weeks people started dancing and they didn't stop. Authorities from the city had to get involved, and even banning dancing wasn't enough. People were not stopping. The city council had to go as far as banning music as a last attempt to calm them down, but it also just did not work. In the end, the epidemic was over by September. So, what caused this inexplicable phenomenon? Well, I wish I could say we know for sure what happened. I really can't. It's still a debate to this day, but scientists and historians have had tons of time to analyze it, and they have come up with many theories that sound plausible at the very least. As weird as it may sound, the dancing plague is not an isolated event. In fact, choreomania, from Greek choreia, and mania, which mean dance and craziness, has happened at least 10 times between the 7th and 16th century in Europe alone, so they have plenty of instances to analyze it. It is important to note, back in these times, Europe wasn't the prosperous continent we know today, nor the colonizing brutes they'd become in the 15th, 16th, and 17th century, but a desolate land full of people living in extreme scarcity. It was nowhere near being stable. Thousands died of hunger, hygiene was far from ideal, and conflict was truly constant. One of the most widely accepted theories say that it might have been some sort of fungal poisoning from rye bread that made people's muscles contract weirdly. In fact, ergot, the fungi that affects this kind of bread, actually has lysergic acid, a component found in LSD. So it might have been an effect similar to the drug. Shared stress from the hard times people lived in these centuries is also an option, and some say that it might have even come from a mix of both. Groups of historians also say that it might have just been some kind of mass hysteria, which is not just a fancy way of saying everyone kind of lost it at the same time, although it sounds like it, but it is actually a little bit more complicated than that. I won't get into it in this video, but long story short, it defines a group of people who are stressed, scared, desperate, and in turn, it makes them display some weird and unexplainable actions as a collective. Sadly though, there has yet to be a conclusion, and until we know for sure what caused the dancing plague, it will just be known as this, a niche moment of history that we can look back on and learn a thing or two about earlier societies. Thank you for watching, and if you want to stick around to watch my other videos, there are some options you can probably find, I don't know, in the end screen. So, thank you for watching, and see you later.